Now in this tutorial we're going to be expanding on our respawn to make it so we can simply place down essentially spawn markers, I guess it would be called. So that way when you die you will respawn on a random, well, spawn marker. It's really not too difficult. So we can actually go ahead and get started here. First thing we're going to do, we're going to actually make the spawn marker class. It's going to be an actor. I want to call it spawn. Let's just do spawn point. Now the only thing we need to give the spawn point is a static mesh. That way we can just, so we can see where the spawn point actually is, like in the world. We don't need it to tick or anything like that, so let's go ahead and get rid of all this. And let's make a new protected section. And we're going to give it a static mesh. So u property edit anywhere category equals s spawn point, or spawn, or let's just call it mesh. No, yeah, mesh. Alright, so now it'll be class u static mesh component. Now this is just so we can create a blueprint class off of this and simply set the mesh. Now let's go ahead and actually include the static mesh component. So include components. If I can even type right. Static mesh component.h. Now in the constructor, we're doing mesh component equals create default subobject u static mesh component. Give it a name of static mesh component. Now we set the root component to equal the mesh component. Now one thing we want to do, since we want to be able to see this in the editor, but when we're actually in game we don't want to see it, we're just simply going to do what's it called? It's like set hidden, or set actor hidden in game. Set that to true. And just because it's hidden doesn't mean it won't have collisions. So now if we spawn this in the world somewhere, we won't be able to see it, but we'll be able to walk into it, jump on top of it, and all that kind of stuff. So what we need to do is change its collision. Now we're going to go actually do this in begin play. I have issues whenever I do this kind of thing in the constructor. I'm not sure if, I don't know, I see other people doing similar things and it's fine for them. I don't know why it doesn't work with me. We're just going to do mesh component, type collision, go down to set something, or here, set collision enabled, and the parameter is an e collision enabled, so e collision enabled, no collision. Let's go ahead and build. Is it not showing? There it is. Here's our spawn point class. Right click, create blueprint class based on spawn point, and just give it the name bp underscore spawn point. Let's actually create a new folder. So new folder, blueprint classes. We're just going to drag all this stuff, even that, into it for now, just to clean it up a bit. So here's our spawn point. Let's go ahead and add a mesh. So click on the mesh component, go to static mesh, and we'll just do a cube. Compile, save, close it. Now when we click and drag it into the world, you will see we have the cube in the editor, but if I go to play, there's no cube there, and I can walk right on through it. So we're good to go there. So this is going to be the basis of our spawn point. I'm actually going to go ahead and place one up here. And save it. So this is going to be our first initial spawn point. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this in the game mode. So survival game mode.h. Let's make a new section, protected. And what we want to do is we want to have an array of spawn points. So it's essentially just going to be an array of these actors here. Oops. And so I'm in the right. What was it? Yeah, T array. Sorry, I was thinking of T subclass of for some reason. So it's going to be a forward declare it a spawn point. Give it a name of spawn points. So this is going to be our array that we access. And spawn points is going to hold all those actors. Now let's go over here to the CVP and include spawn point. Alright, so we are set up there. We need to actually fill this. And one thing we can do, let's actually go ahead and I'm going to create another section, public, just because I want to do begin play. So virtual void begin play, and override it. Void a survival game mode begin play, super begin play. Now when this game mode gets created, begin play is going to run, and when begin play runs we want to fill up our spawn points. So what we're going to be using is a T actor iterator. So we're essentially going to be looping through all the U classes, which are essentially the blueprint versions of the class, like this one here. We're going to be looping through all those, and if it's valid, we're going to store it inside of spawn points. So what we can do is let's go ahead and get the U class that we want to get. So U class spawn point class equals a spawn point static class. Now we need a for loop, so for, and it's going to be, actually we need to include a header for this to use it. And that is, here it is, engine utilities. So T actor iterator type is going to be a actor. What was the rest? Alright, so now we need to get the world. So get world, then spawn point class, then if the condition is going to be actor, then because we want to iterate through the actors, we'll do that. Alright, I messed this up somewhere. What am I forgetting? Oh wait, duh. Actor. Alright, now we're good. Let's go ahead and build it. Make sure I didn't actually screw this up. Probably did. Well, that's actually kind of a surprise. Alright, so now we're gonna be, the only thing that's gonna be running the loop is if actor is valid. So what we're gonna do here is, we know our array is called spawn points, so we're gonna do spawn points dot add. What we're gonna add, as you can see right there, it's not the U class, so it's not going to be spawn point class. It has to be a spawn point, so we need to cast it. So cast a spawn point. What we're going to do it from is actor. And that should fill it up. So I'm going to go ahead and print out a log. UE log temp warning text spawn points, just to count how many there are. Let's see, it'll be spawn points dot, is it size for the T array? Num, what is it? I really thought it was size. Oh, nope, it is num. Let's go ahead and build, and when we run it, this should show 1. Clear the log. And it is not showing that at all. Let's make sure we're actually printing something. Oh, I was supposed to say test. I wonder if it's just not showing because of it being in begin play. We can simply test this by printing it out in respawn. And then just kill the other client. Because there should be no reason why it's not running that I can think of. So kill him. Okay, yeah, it actually shows right there. Spawn points 1. Alright, so yeah, it is running and it is adding it to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using a function called randRange that is an fmath. So we're going to go ahead and include the utility, well, the class, and it takes in a minimum and a max value. What it's going to be is we're going to get a random number returned. So we're going to enter in 0 as the minimum, and the size of our array as the max. Well, the size of our array minus 1. Because as you know, arrays start at 0, and it showed us that the size of the array was 1, because there's technically 1 element in there. But if we try to get element 1 out of an array that only has 1 element in it, it's going to be invalid. So let's go ahead and include it. And in here, we're going to go ahead and get the location and the rotation. Alright, so for the location, that's going to be, actually let's go ahead and check first. We'll get a random number. So int32 slot equals fmath randRange, and it was so 0 and spawn points dot num minus 1. So if spawn points slot is valid, we will simply spawn points slot get actor location and do the same for the rotation. Alright, so we're good there. we're going to actually set up a separate function to get a valid spawn point. Alright, so now when we kill the actor, he should spawn up on top of that thing. And he did, just like so. So let's go ahead and try it with a couple of these. Just place one over here. And one over there. So now, let's see if he keeps spawning to a different one. Which he did, he's at the one on the far right. Let's kill him again. Spawn in the same one. Alright, I keep hitting the floor. Same one. Alright, now he's up there. Back over there. And all the way over here. So it's just kind of going between them. Now, let's go ahead and create a little function to get us our spawn point. So, it's going to be another protected section. It's going to be class A spawn point, get spawn point. We're going to do this right above our respawn. A spawn point, get a survival game mode, get spawn point. And we're essentially going to, well, actually we're going to be looping this. So let's see how we're going to do it. We're going to do 4 int 32i equals 0. I is less than what was it called? Spawn points dot num. I don't know why I keep forgetting the name of the array. And increment I. So this is just so it's not going to run forever. So we can kind of, if it fails, we can continually test. Well, just if we have a valid spawn point or not. And here we're going to be doing essentially the same thing here. So we can actually simply copy this. So if the spawn point is valid, we simply return spawn points slot. And since we're returning, it's going to actually stop this loop and everything from running. So we're good to go there. So now we can get rid of this check and simply call, well, get our spawn point. So a spawn point equals get spawn point. Now we base everything off of that spawn point. Alright, Control Shift B to build. Make sure it works. Alrighty, what'd I forget? Oh, right. Return null pointer. So we actually are going to want to do a check here. So if spawn point, and actually we can do it up here. So have our if statement up here. So if that is good to go, in case everything kind of failed and there are no spawn points, if that's the case, we can actually specify a default spawn point that we will spawn at, which I'm going to do it back in the center here. So let's create a new f vector. F vector default spawn location. And in the constructor, we're going to set that up. So default spawn location equals f vector, where is it, negative 400, 50, and we're going to do 300 just to be safer. Alright. Oh, what are you upset about? Wait, why did I do that? Alright, now we're good. So if we did in fact get a spawn point, we are going to do that. Otherwise, we're going to go off of the default. So default spawn location, F rotator, 0 rotator, because we don't really care, and rotation, and rotation. Alright, so now we should spawn on the spawn point, and then if I delete all 3 of the spawn points we have, we should spawn in the center. Well, at this thing's location. So let's do a quick test. Alright, he spawned over there. Again, that seems to be really common. Let's go ahead and delete that one, and that one, so we have no spawn locations. And kill him. And as you can see, he spawned right here where we specified. Alright, so even though we're already pretty much sure it's going to be fine, let's go ahead and just test it in dedicated, because why not? Alright, kill him. Spawn there. Spawn there. I completely forgot to add the spawn points back. Alright, I guess I'm undoing as far as I can do. Let's just add that one. And that one. Save. And one more time. Alright, kill him. And he spawned over there. Kill him again. He spawned over here. Alright, so we are good to go. So we now have our spawn point set up. And in case there are no spawn points, we at least have a default spawn location, so the actor's not, well, the player's not going to get completely screwed. So let's go ahead and walk through what we've done. We created a simple actor. The only thing this actor has is a static mesh, nothing more. Then what we do is we make sure that actor's hidden in game, so when we press play, we cannot visibly see it. And because we don't want to walk into it or have any interaction with it, we disable its collisions. Now on the game mode, all we do is we get an array of these actors, which we go ahead and, when the game actually starts, we iterate through all of them and we add them to that array. Then when we kill a player and he tries to respawn, we go ahead and call our getSpawnPoint function, which iterates through that array and returns, well, selects a random spawn point from the array, and if it's valid, we simply return it. So generally it should be pretty much the first one unless something goes wrong. So we simply return that spawn point that we got, the random one in that array. And then we set our location and rotation to be that spawn point's location and rotation. If we do not find any spawn points at all in the array, as if we had none or something completely really screws up, we have a backup. So that way we can always have a spot for our player to respawn, which in our case, it's on this little, I guess this thing's just considered a billboard. I don't know. It's on this guy's location. So, yeah, that's how you set up a little respawn point. Very simple.